Hello fashion lovers, welcome to another exciting video. So today we are making this beautiful straight skirt. Sit back and enjoy. So first, I have my material on fold of 2 first on the wrong side of the fabric, and then I'm going to fold it over in 2 again, making it 4 all in all. And I've gone ahead to mark out my zipper line of 2 inches. Note, I'm starting all of my measurements from the center, front and back. So next I'm going to take the length, leaving out 2 inches at the top. I'll later use this for the band measurement. So I'm going to take the length of this dress. I added 2 extra inches to the original length of the skirt. That is for my allowance for hemming and folding when I fold it with the lining later on. So I'm just marking this out and I'll cut it out. Next, I'm going to mark my hip point, making sure I leave out the initial 2 inches at the top for the band. So I'm going to mark it on either side so I can have a straight and even line later on. So from that point, I'm going to just roll the line, and next I'm going to mark the under hip, that is 3 inches or 4 inches away from your hip point, and I'll also connect the lines. Now go ahead and label the first line as the hip point and the second line as the under hip, and of course the length or the hemline, which I'm not going to label because it is where the skirt stops. I also label the zipper allowance. So next I'm going on the center front. Remember, all measurements start from the zipper line. I'm going to go in by quarter of my waist measurement, that is waist measurement divided by 4, and I added 2 extra inches for ease and sewing allowance. And I'll do same for the hip line. On the hip point, I'm going to go in by quarter of my hip measurement plus the extra 2 inches. Now on the under hip, I'm going to go in by the same measurement, but I'll minus half an inch from the measurement, the quarter of my hip measurement. I'll minus half an inch on the under hip. And on the hemline, I'll make sure that the hemline is at least almost half inch smaller than the under hip. This is to ensure you have that pencil effect. So next I'm going to connect all of the dots, all of the markings. I'll use the roller to connect it straight forward. I'm just repeating the same measurements I have on the hemline on this other part. So I'm just going to connect it. Remember, I added 2 inches allowance on each line, on the hip line, on the hip, and the hemline. So I'm done connecting this. I will just go ahead and smoothen it out. Now next, on the center front, only the center front panel, not with the center back, please. You have to be careful on this. I'll go down by half an inch as I did here, and I'll cut it out only on the front panel, please. Do not cut this on the back panel. This is just on the front panel. I'm cutting out, making sure I'm just cutting this on the front panel. The front panel. Do not make mistake of cutting these two together. So this is just to make the back longer, of course, than the front panel. So I'm cutting this out carefully and making sure that I stick to the lines. This is what we have. Next, I'm going to cut lining for the two sides, and I'm making sure that the front panel is on the side that is not slit on my lining. So this is what I have after cutting lining for the both panel, and I made sure that my lining is 1 inch shorter than the main fabric. You want to do that so that you don't have your lining sticking out when you finish sewing. So this is what it looks like. Now before you take this to the sewing board, you are going to cut out the band that is 3 inches wider than your waist measurement. So let's take this to the sewing machine.
Sunrise sparkles on the dew, got my boots on, thinking of you. All these miles that stretch between distant towns and fields of green. Cornfields gold as your hair, winds whisper when I hear your prayer. Every twist and turn I take brings me closer to the love we'll make. Country roads lead me home, lead me to your arms where I belong. Through the valleys and the pines, to the heart that beats with mine. Country roads don't steer me wrong, show the way I've loved so long. Every mile a work of art, country roads to your heart. Sunrise sparkles on the dew, got my boots on, thinking of you. All these miles that stretch between distant towns and fields of green. Cornfields gold as your hair, winds whisper when I hear your prayer. Every twist and turn I take brings me closer to the love we'll make. Country roads lead me home, lead me to your arms where I belong. Through the valleys and the pines, to the heart that beats with mine. Country roads don't steer me wrong, show the way I've loved so long. Every mile a work of art, country roads.
Now, after sewing the lining to the fabric, this is what I have at the end of the day. And I've also gone ahead to take my waist dot, and I've also attached the zipper. Now this is what it looks like. Now, in case you're noticing what is on the skirt like that, that is because I attached a little hip padding. I call it little because it's not so obvious. And if you're interested in knowing how I went about attaching hip padding to the skirt, you let me know in the comment section so I can make a separate video on how to attach hip padding to skirt. So I also took the dart on the front panel. Now the next thing is to align this and make it flat as much as possible. The right side facing the right side, and make sure it's well aligned. This part is very important. Make sure that you lay it all flat before you go ahead to take your body measurement. And I like to pin this down first before I take my body measurement. This is totally optional, it's not necessary at all. It's just that, you guys, I love to pin stuff as I'm sewing. It saves me a lot of headache. I know it's so beginner approach, but it works for me. So I like to pin my clothes when I'm sewing it so that I don't make mistake in the alignment. So yeah, if you have watched to this point, I want to specially say thank you. You are the real deal. And if you have not subscribed, please do so. And you let me know your thoughts. Do not forget to drop your thoughts in the comment section. Also like, and if you're feeling super generous, you can share. Also, before doing this, I am sure you know you're supposed to iron this. Before you reach this point, you must have iron after fixing your lining. So now I'm just going to go in by my body measurement. Of course, I'm using this straight line that I made with iron as my center line. So I'm just pretty much repeating the same thing, but this time around I'm taking my exact body measurement without the allowance. So I'll go in by a quarter of my waist measurement, quarter of my hip measurement, and under hip measurement, and I connect it to the hem.
I feel it in my veins, masking all this pain. Been searching high and low, with nowhere else to go. I used to feel alive, so many years went by. I wish I had more time, just wanna feel alright. Stars across the sky, guide me home. No more crying, it's time to go. Been searching for you, high and low. I need to know.
After pinning this down, I'm going to repeat pretty much the same thing on the other side, and I'll take it to the sewing machine and run a straight stitch on the lines I've marked out. At this point, I have finished stitching the sides, and this is what it's giving. I'm just going to turn this over. Now remember the band we cut out earlier, So you must have ironed it at this point. Now this is how you go about ironing it. I did it just like bias, but of course it's larger than the bias. I folded the edges before folding it into further. Now I'm just going to, I don't know if you can see this clearly, but this is how I ironed it. I made sure I gave this a good press. Now I'm just going to find the midpoint of this. Remember, the length of the band is my waist measurement plus 3 inches. So I have that in excess just in case. And I'll just find the midpoint. I'll fold it over like this, mark the midpoint, and also mark the midpoint on the skirt. I'll notch it and connect it midpoint to midpoint. And I'm going to sew the first line, which will be facing out first before I top stitch it from the outside. I don't know if you get this, but just watch how I'm illustrating it here. So this is the final look of the skirt. I have finished attaching the band and I added a little elastic inside of it just to make it very tight, and I added this hook to give it the final look. And this is what it looks like. It's really beautiful, and I'm also going to make a beautiful top to go with this. If you're interested, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any updates from this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and this is my cue to say bye-bye. I'll see you in my next video. And don't forget to subscribe.